This is a demo video to showcase some of the physics processing that goes into Outer Colony, and specifically we're going to focus on our model for liquids and how water flows in the world. The key thing to keep in mind as you're watching this video is how this level of simulation can generate all sorts of interesting gameplay that you might not necessarily be able to get out of a traditional RTS game with a simpler world model. So think about all the possibilities that are derived from this, and hopefully this video will give a feel for not just how dynamic these worlds are, but what you can do with them and how far we're trying to go in simulating the basic elements of the world, like how liquids work. So we're going to walk through one specific scenario that hopefully shows many aspects of the system, gives some neat visuals to watch, and explains what's going on under the hood to an extent. So if we take a look at what we've got here, we've got a small body of water. This is just a fairly shallow creek flowing here in the southeast corner of the screen. We've got a pair of structures, and we'll take a look at the elevations here so that you can see, that are built up on some raised terrain with a moat dugout at Z level 71 that goes around them. So let's just step through the Z levels and see all the layers of what we've got built. So you can see the tops of our structures here, and as we step down, you can see that they're built up on some elevated terrain. All of this terrain is sitting up above this moat that's been dug out underneath. And you can see that this dugout area extends over to here, where my mouse is now, where we've got a stairwell leading downward that's been dug to an underground tunnel, which leads directly underneath the creek bed. And we've got an upward stairwell here, and then if we go back up, we can see that the bottom of the creek bed is still solid ground that hasn't been punctured. So what we're going to do in this demonstration is we're going to order some mining to take place. It's going to dig out the bottom of this creek bed. The water is then going to flow down, and it's going to flow out and fill up this area that's been dug out, creating sort of canals or a moat around these two raised pieces of terrain where our structures are built. Now, one thing that I'm going to show off that's kind of neat about the way that liquid flow works is how we model pressure, and the way that the way that liquid flow works is that every tile of liquid has some mass factor associated with it, and that mass factor pushes down on tiles of liquid that are underneath them. We kind of treat water as a compressible fluid, and as that water underneath is compressed, if it's got nowhere to go, it can even flow back upward. And this is a failing of a lot of really simplistic, they call them falling sand automata, that we've addressed in Outer Colony to get somewhat more realistic flows. And this is really shown off by, if we take a look at what this is going to have to flow through, we can see that when we're looking at Z level 70, we have this dug out as the base of the underground tunnel, but the liquid is going to actually have to flow up to level 71 in order to get out. And this is the U-shaped bend that's talked about in the detailed write-up on the liquid flow system. So if you take a look in the comments, or in the description of this YouTube video, you'll see a link to the article that describes how some of this stuff works in more detail. But water can flow not just down, not just out as it's inclined to do, but pressure can make it flow back upward, as we'll show in this U-shaped bend. So I'm going to issue the order to dig out the bottom of this creek bed, and we'll watch the whole thing in action. So hopefully our miner will make his way over there pretty quick. Here comes our miner. He's making his way over. And now that the tile's been dug out, we can see that the liquid has flowed underground. It's pushed its way up via the pressure that we talked about earlier, and now it's going to start to fill in this channel that's been dug out around our two structures. And so if we take a look at the elevations, we'll see here that the creek is flowing naturally at a Z level of 72, and that's why, since it's sitting higher than this terrain that it's filling in now, the downward pressure that it's exerting is sufficient to push it out here. So so this is all pretty neat to watch, but the real key to this demonstration is to showcase the possibilities that this kind of modeling provides from a gameplay standpoint. So you don't have to think too hard to come up with neat things that you can do with this. Something as seemingly fundamental as flowing water enables all kind of gameplay that you just can't pull off in a traditional RTS game with a simpler world. Just as for instance, in Outer Colony, you could if you've got an enemy who has built his colony in a valley and there's some source of flowing water nearby, you might be able to dam up that flowing water on higher terrain, build a dam, let it amass some huge volume of water behind it, and then knock out that dam and let the huge volume of water flow down on your enemy's colony. And the same thing that would happen if you blew up a dam in real life will happen in Outer Colony. A huge deluge will inundate all of their structures and drown all their people and leave ruin in its wake. So this is the kind of stuff this is the kind of neat, creative sort of approach you can take to playing the game that this kind of fundamental simulation enables. And so, like I say, if you look all over the website, you can see that one of the key points that we go for is to organically derive gameplay from the simulation, and that's just one example. So, hopefully this has been a pretty neat video to watch. Hopefully it gives an idea of how the water system works, some of the power that is derived from it, and if you want to know more about the details, check out the article that's linked from the description. Thanks a lot for watching.